Hey, welcome everybody. I appreciate everybody joining. The main reason for this is I saw my own transaction coordinator struggling just with a few things when it comes to attracting agents to her business. And the awesome thing is about transaction coordination is if you have a producing agent, you get a lot of deals going, right? Because you guys sometimes get paid up front for the offers that you put in for us realtors, and then you guys get paid at closing. But my transaction coordinator kept running into finding new agent after new agent that doesn't do a whole lot of deals. And you are so awesome at the paperwork side of things that I wanted to hop on here just because I'm thankful for my transaction coordinator and really try to give you as much value as I possibly can. And by me providing you value, what I mean is we're going to go over a quick presentation. All that's going to do is show you how to generate leads when it comes to realtors, what type of offer do you present to them, and then really how to get them to sign with you. Because I think that's the biggest disconnect is you're so good at doing the paperwork side of things. You're not so much as good as the lead generation side. And that's why I wanted to bring that together. I know there's some questions when it came to that, like why would I bring on Rick Janson? Rick Janson is one of my mentors. He is one of the top realtors in the United States. I sent you a little email about it, number 14 in his state. And the reason I brought on such a heavy hitter is because as a transaction coordinator, you want to be signing on agents like Rick, people that do deals every day, have multiple closings each week, so you can get paid and you can work with the heavy hitters within the real estate industry and not worry so much about having 10, 15, 20, 25 junior agents. And you're just riding that roller coaster of when my next paycheck's going to be. So as everybody makes it in, we'll get this presentation started here pretty shortly. Rick, how are you?
Good, Luke. How you doing? And just
Fantastic.
a little bit of info for you guys, because you don't know who Luke Smith is. You are in for a real treat today. I'm going to silence my phone here because it's letting me know everybody who's joining this meeting. But Luke is just one of my favorite people that I've met in real estate. And Luke and Leah are just a fantastic married couple in Georgia. Luke is a former Army Ranger. So, I always make sure to thank him for his service. But he has a level of discipline, a level of application, and a level of execution of principles that I just don't see in other agents when they join the business. So when Luke sees something and he sees it works, he just executes and does it. And he's going to teach you to do the same type of thing. And it's just a real honor and a treat. I also just love how he's aligned morally, ethically. He's just a really well-grounded man. So I just honor you and appreciate you and can't wait to hear what you're going to share with us today.
Well, thank you, Rick. And so thankful that you could hop in on here. Please feel free to speak whenever when I'm going over anything. My whole goal is to bring as much value as I possibly can. And if you see something that you can give some nuggets in, please speak up. The reason why we're all here, how to sign on more producing agents as a TC, right? The more agents we have, the more deals we can get, the more deals that we can get, the more money that we can make. Just a little bit about who I am. I'm a full-time realtor. I also attend college full-time online. It's awesome. Government pays for it. Former Army Ranger and police officer. I got into real estate not too long ago. Sorry about that. Somebody trying to call in for the call. Because I was so tired of being in positions where I would give everything that I had and I never got paid for it. I have multiple combat awards overseas for multiple deployments to Afghanistan, president of the police academy, crush it over at Perry Police Department. But I never in my life have made over $3,000 a month. And it just really blew my mind when I started getting into reading more books and seeing that the sales industry just got paid based off of performance. And I knew that my performance was there, but I was just being held back because of the jobs that I was in. I would never take it back for the world, the stuff that I've done in the past. But being able to use that type of mindset for what I'm going to teach you to today, it's going to be awesome. A little bit about me, I guess. I love my dogs. And then I was going to ask a little bit about you guys. I might have to save that for the Q&A. I had no idea that we're going to have so many people join. So when it comes to the Q&A, I'd love to be able to get to know you a little bit more, and please take notes, pen, paper, ask away as soon as we get to the Q&A. Today, we're going to go over lead generation, the offer, our follow-up system, a presentation, like a face-to-face or Zoom presentation you're going to do with other realtors, and then how to actually close these realtors. There we go. I think there's a little quote that pops up here. So when it comes to leads and lead generation, we can go to the next one. We have to prospect. So take it out of my position, for example. I'm a realtor. If I don't daily cold call, if I don't daily lead generate with Facebooks and ads and marketing and all that kind of stuff, I don't have business. So you're out of business if you don't prospect. And I know that's going to be hard to hear sometimes from the transaction coordination type thing. Because I know you love, like some people, I don't want to call everybody out for what they love. Being behind the scenes is great, but this might be a little uncomfortable during this presentation with the things that I'm going to ask you to do to help grow your business. But understand that when you can get over this fear of prospecting and picking up that phone call and calling, it's going to change your life. Because everything that I've written down on my whiteboard, my family is depending on me to pick up that phone because I hate cold calling. I would rather join the military again, to be honest, and cold call, but I have to do it anyway because my business depends on it. So we can go to the next slide, Rick. So how to prospect for agents. Just to be upfront, I threw this presentation together over the last few days. So if I have typos or anything like that, please forgive me. But daily prospecting as a TC is a non-negotiable because if you don't have any agents, you don't have any money. And a recent National Association of Realtors, so the NAR, came out with a study that the average realtor only closes 12 deals a year. I'm going to do some math. So I know usually from contract to close, we're going to get into your value proposition and how to actually charge more money for your services later. But I'm just going to use the simple number of $350. At $350 times 12, that's only $4,200 a year. So if you have a normal real estate agent that is a full like National Association of Realtors signed realtor, you're only making $4,200 per agent. So for us to get more agents in your pipeline, same thing that I do. You want to add 5 to the CRM every single day. So I have where to find them and then what CRM to use. You have the easiest opportunity in the whole world. Every single realtor everywhere on the internet, their first name, their last name, their email address, and their phone number. So actually gathering these people's information is going to be super easy. I mean, you can go on Facebook, you can go on Instagram, you can literally go on the internet and type in realtors in X city, and you're going to be able to find these people. But I challenge you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 52 weeks out of the year. Let's do some math. 52 weeks in a year, 5 days a week times 5 people. You're going to have 1,300 agents in your database if you only contact 5 a day. And I know it seems a bit excessive with how many that's going to add up to, but with good closing ratios and what we're going to teach you with this presentation, if you were to add 1,300 people into your CRM and you're consistently sending them follow-up emails, text messages, which can be automated, and getting in contact with them, you have a lot better chance. Real quick off topic, Rick, what kind of CRM systems do you specifically use? Because I like KV Core and CRM Grow for mine.
Yeah, I personally, for my agent outreach, I definitely do use CRM Grow. I think it's like $49 a month or something like that. We make no money off of that. I don't care who you use. I do use KB Core for my clients. I also use Chime. Lion Desk is out there at $25 a month. HubSpot has some free options. I just, with CRM Grow, I just really like the nice, it's easy automations. And we have, Luke, we have some templates that people could just rip off and duplicate for us. We can just give them to them and then they'd have the automation already done for them.
Perfect. That's too easy because you want to make it a mix of phone calls, emails, text messages, all that kind of stuff. And getting on the phone with these individuals too. I know I brought up with phone calls. I think I have it in a slide down the road, but if you try to close somebody on the first phone call, you have about a 2% chance. So if you reach out to an agent one time, ask for their business, and then say, hey, if you ever need help, call me back, you have a 2% chance. So that's why I'm saying 5 agents a day. Later in the presentation, I have like a step-by-step system. Just what Rick was saying, you can literally pull like a 90-day thing off of CRM Grow, change up some stuff, get automated stuff sent out to them. And then all of a sudden, all you're doing is contacting 5 people a day, set them up on automations, and then you're the one getting inbound stuff coming to you. So how to prospect for these agents, right? So how do you contact them? You're going to call them, you're going to drop by the office, email, you can even do handwritten letters. I love handwritten letters. You can probably do this for their real estate offices themselves. I don't know how too many realtors that do their personal home address, but my favorite for realtors themselves is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. All their information's on there, and you can just set them up on automations. So when you're calling, when you're emailing, when you're sending DMs, text messages, you're not so much asking for the business, you're asking to set an appointment, because a face-to-face appointment on either Zoom or in person is going to change everything. If I, for example, got on the phone with somebody and I'm cold calling, hey, can I sell your house? I don't have any rapport. I don't even know what their name is. I don't know any of their information. And most likely they're going to go tell me to kick rocks, right? Especially with realtors, they get the most cold calls, I swear, out of anybody. I get like 5 or 6 calls a day asking if I want insurance, like health insurance. So really the main goal is to set a face-to-face appointment. And then you want to position yourself as a professional and an extension of their service that they already offer. So I'm going to get into what that offer is going to look like. We can go to the next slide, Rick. And yeah, just one prior. No, you're fine.
It's not going back.
I think if you do the arrow to the left, maybe on your keyboard. There we go. Same slide, accidentally duplicated it. This is just what I created on Microsoft Word real quick. An example, you can take a picture of this, you can screenshot it, do whatever you want. This is the type of conversation you want to have on first contact. So here, Rick, do you mind running through this with me? Hey,
Sure.
Rick.
Yes.
Hey, this is Luke. I'm not sure if this is the right time, but I was hoping to tell you why I was calling, and then you can decide if we should stop or continue the conversation. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. And going back into number 2, I could actually switch that to, hey, this is Luke. I'm a local transaction coordinator in the real estate industry. I was hoping to tell you why I'm calling, and then you can decide whether we can continue or not. So you can right off the rip, not sound like a telemarketer. That's always a good idea. Well, hey, Rick, great. So I'm calling because I understand you specialize in helping people buy and sell houses. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. Because believe it or not, my business specializes in helping real estate agents just like yourself save time on transactions, giving them more time for income producing activities. So do you mostly help buyers or sellers?
I'm split 50-50.
Okay, awesome. So I'm actually looking to work with a few more top realtors in Colorado, just like yourself. And I was curious if you'd be open-minded to hop on a 15-minute Zoom call with me. I can go over all the time I can save you, the money, and add your bottom line each month. Would that be fair if I can steal 15 minutes from you?
I'm going to be hard. I'm going to say no.
Okay, Rick, I understand completely. Before I let you go, can I ask you one more question?
Sure.
Is it all right for me to send you my resume to your email for your review? I think you're going to find a lot of value after it. And if you do end up finding value in it, we can continue this conversation down the road. Is that fair?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good.
Awesome. Because we're going to get people that say no. Not everybody's going to want to take your call. Not everybody's going to want to spend 15 minutes on a Zoom call. But you can create your own script and kind of go something through like this. And that's what your first phone call is going to look like. You can do this with text. You can do it with the DM. You can even do an email thread like this. Do you have any advice with this, Rick?
I love it.
Perfect. But yeah, we can move on. So we're going to go over the offer. So I like calling this my Grand Slam offer. This is what I do when it comes to listings. This is what I do when it comes to looking for buyers. And this is what you need to do when you're looking for agents. So before getting into an offer, I feel like a lot of people don't know what their value proposition is and what their offer actually is. And then Vanessa said, do you also have like a script for if we get routed to voicemail? Yeah, for sure. After this, I'll type up a couple of scripts and I can get those sent out via email. You can just hop down there in the chat and I can go. But if it came into, let's say, an email, Vanessa, we could do like, hey, this is Vanessa. I'm a local transaction coordinator. I was just giving you a call because I think I can add some value to your business. Do you mind hopping on a 15-minute Zoom call? If you're interested, call me back. Or something to entice them to get on the phone. So many people are so used to telemarketers. If you can leverage it to get them on the phone, you have a way better chance to actually provide some value instead of just getting hung up on. Awesome. So definition of an offer. the starting point of any conversation to initiate a transaction with a customer, what you are literally providing them in exchange for their money. So it's your value and what you offer for their money. So why is this important? It forces your client to make a value-based decision instead of a price-based decision. And Rick, if you go to the next slide, I'll explain this slide and the next slide. Would you still suggest sending a resume if you're offering TC services from a business standpoint? I think resume is huge. I don't know about you, but how many realtors do you think get resumes from transaction coordinators trying to reach out to them? I don't know about you, but for me, it's usually just a little email at the end of an already said message, and then I kind of overlook it. But if you were to present some value and say, hey, this is what I have to offer, I'd love to get on the phone, pick your brain about your needs, and then I can go over what I have to offer even more in a Zoom presentation for maybe 15 minutes. Would you be opposed to that? Probably going to say yes.
And Luke, I would also add to that, maybe just like a 30-second video.
Saying, bomb.
Because a TC interacts with the client, right? So if you have a personality that's engaging, then let that shine, right? Because otherwise your words on paper are going to be a little flat, even if you have a tremendous experience. But if you can bring your energy to that through a video, that adds a lot to it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah. If somebody sent me a nice little 30-second video of who they are, what they do, and how they can add value to my business, that wouldn't feel like a cold call. It wouldn't feel like anything at all at that point. I would be like, wow, this feels very, very personal. So the variables within an offer. So there's pain, purchasing power, easy to target, and growing. So this is with every industry. Everybody has these things, and this is how you specifically put your offer in. So pain, they desperately need what I have. For example, a real estate agent is going to get capped off with how much production they can have if they're bogged down doing paperwork during prospecting and appointment hours. That's how I feel about it. If I'm so busy typing on my computer trying to get offers together when I know I need to be on the phone, or I know I need to go be on listing appointments, that pain for me is going to be, I can't make as much money unless I hire somebody. Purchasing power, can they afford your business, right? I don't know what you charge. Maybe you charge $350 a transaction, $500 a transaction. Maybe you do the pre-listing and you charge $150 for that to get offers typed up. Who you're targeting, can they actually afford it? That's why I brought Rick on, for example. If you were to add value to Rick's business, for example, I don't really think Rick would care how much money he had to pay if he knows that what you're doing is increasing his bottom line overall, and he's making more money than he's actually paying you. But if you go out and attract these brand new agents that don't even have one deal done yet, and they don't have good mentorship, and they're asking you to not only be a transaction coordinator, but an assistant and a mentor at the same time, you're spending way too much time, and you're not going to end up getting paid what you're worth. So the purchasing power, can they afford it? Easy to target. Can I find them? Yes. Realtors are every single place on the internet. And then growing. Do they have a business plan? Are you attracting agents that are going to increase their production because they have a solid business plan in place? Because you help a unique avatar solve a specific problem in a unique way that reserves their biggest objection. Because if you can solve their problem right off the bat on that phone call or that Zoom presentation, you're not going to have objections. If you're going to add to their bottom line, and you're going to take all of this time off of their plate and give it back to them so they can prospect and go on appointments, it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't they say yes to you?
Yeah, Luke, if I can add to that.
Absolutely.
If people present themselves as an expense, my ears go deaf immediately, right? But when you're talking to a producing agent, you ask them, how do you value your time? Like your prospecting time, how many calls does it make? How many hours does it take to set an appointment that converts to a closing? And you ask the agent, do you know that? And many agents will not know their number. So then don't put them on the defensive. Just say, hey, I get that. A lot of the agents I talk to, they value their time at $300 to $500 an hour. Now that's their prospecting time. And you can use this script. So the agents I talk to, the producing agents I talk to that really know their numbers, value their time at between $300 to $500 an hour. So let's just go to the low end and say it's $300 an hour. How many hours do you spend processing a file? Do you know? And most agents, again, will not know their numbers. And you could say, okay, well, most of the producing agents I know it's between 5 to 10 hours that they actually spend tending to a file. So if you're going to spend on the low end 5 hours and on the high end 10 hours at $300 an hour, you're looking at $1,500 to $3,000 of lost time that you could be spent prospecting. I want to give that time back to you. And even if I cost $350 or $500, if I'm giving you $3,000 worth of time, do you see how that's valuable to you? And you have to paint the picture for them. They're not going to know their numbers. So share the numbers, presume, and come across as the professional who knows it all and say, well, the agents that I work with, the producing agents that I work with, the studies that I've seen show, give them the numbers to make them feel comfortable hiring you as something that actually makes them money as opposed to cost them money.
I agree 1,000,000%, Rick. Thank you so much for adding that. Because just like it's a no-brainer. The whole goal with the whole offer is to ask or create an offer that is so good, they would literally feel stupid saying no. If Rick presented that to me and said like, yeah, I don't need a transaction coordinator, I'm good. If he said, well, I'm wasting $1,500 to $3,000 per deal when you charge $500 or even $300 per transaction, I would feel stupid saying no to Rick. You know how he leveraged that situation into making it okay for me to spend some money if I can gain X amount back? That was phenomenal, Rick. Thank you so much for adding that.
Well, and I learned that from another agent that we work with, Lee, up in Seattle. And when he hired a transaction coordinator to take on 4 deals that he had under contract, he freed up over 15 hours of his month. That 15 hours brought him a couple more deals. And you can use anecdotal stories like that to show people, educate people as to why they actually need your service. You're one of the first people they should hire before they hire social media marketing, before they hire YouTube editors, before they hire everything else. They should absolutely be hiring a transaction coordinator.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
I'll let you get on to part 3. Sorry.
No. That's such a phenomenal thing, because these agents, that was my first hire, was a transaction coordinator. I needed my time back. And now that I have more time, I can make more money and leverage the money that I'm making with my business, put it back in, and then those new hires come. But you can't do it all as an agent. And if an agent tells you that they don't need a TC, they're not going to get anywhere. So I agree. This is like a huge don't do. And this is part of your value proposition with your Grand Slam offer. This is what most people do. It's a vicious cycle of price. And this is how people create their value proposition. And this is your competition. I guarantee 95% of other transaction coordinators do this, and we need to stop. So they look at the marketplace, right? That's where I came up with the number 350, because I just typed on the internet, the average price of a transaction coordinator from contract to close, right? They look at the marketplace. They see what everyone else offers. So they see the prices. And okay, I do contract to close for $350, right? Maybe it's from $350 to $450. They take the average, so the average would be $400. They go slightly below. So hey, instead of charging $400, I'm going to charge $375. Then they're going to present what their competitors do, offer a little bit more. So like, hey, I'm going to actually type up the listing agreement for you on top of that with no charge. And then you end up with saying, hey, I'm going to give you more product, more of my time, more of my service, and I'm going to charge you less money than everybody else. That is the worst way in the world to present an offer in your value proposition for 2 things. Number one, you are going so above and beyond for these individuals that you're spending more than that average 5 to 10 hours on the file. And then you set their expectations so high. So when you can't pull through because you just threw on an extra 5 to 10 hours on top of that contract, you're giving them a bad experience and they're not going to want to use you again. So if we go to the next slide, we can put together a good offer. So this is the value equation, kind of like what I was going on before that. And then I believe the next slide is a good offer. I literally wrote this in my notebook, took a screenshot, put it on PowerPoint. So as you see, it's dream outcome times perceived likelihood of achievement over time delay and effort sacrifice equals your value. So for me to break this down, your dream value is the end result, is the end result meaningful to them? So my dream result as a realtor is my transaction coordinator takes care of all of my paperwork and I don't have anything to do except for call, set appointments, get the contract on the appointments, and close. I don't have to worry about any paperwork at all. I don't have to look at my email. I don't have to do anything. That's literally my dream outcome times my perceived likelihood of that actually happening. What do I believe as a realtor? If somebody presents me their value proposition, do I actually believe that my dream outcome is possible? If I do, the value is going to go up. And then you have it divided by the time delay. So how long will it take them to see the final result, right? Let's say you work business hours from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. or from 9 to 5. You don't work nights, you don't work weekends. The time delay in my mind is, well, if I need something typed up on a Friday night, I know that's not going to get done until Monday. So my dream outcome, I know, just went down, and then the effort and sacrifice that I have to make. So again, if I have to end up doing paperwork that I'm paying somebody else for because of the time delay and the amount of effort and sacrifice that I have to make, knowing that they're not fulfilling all the obligations that I thought they were when they presented that value proposition to me, because they told me they're going to give me more and they're going to charge me less, where does that come into? So desire and promise will go up for your value proposition, and your time and effort and sacrifice is going to go down. And when we can get this will increase their conviction that you can solve their problem. So the definition of value for you is that you can solve their problem and they truly believe it. And then I believe the next slide. So this is just an example of an offer, right? It can be on Facebook, it can be in a text, it can be in anything, right? This was taken on November 13th. Today's the 21st, and these numbers have almost doubled, right? All I put inside this group was, if I put on a free Zoom class that would teach you how to attract and sign on real estate agents without spending any money, how many would attend, right? And then this blew up because we're solving a problem. And the reason I took this out is just because it's literally what we're doing right now. How can you solve that realtor's problem? And if you can solve a problem that they already have and you can really dig deep, they're going to get on that Zoom call with you. So the presentation. So everything changes when you're face to face. Rick, how many times have people hung up on you, talk trash to you over the phone, cuss you out, and then as soon as you get in person, everything changes?
Tons.
All the time. So if you think agents are ignoring you, most of the time they're just super busy. You know how the real estate game is. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we need to really focus on like income producing activities. For me, it's calling my leads, following up with my leads, and going on appointments. That increases the money in my pocket. When I waste time on cold calls and trying to email people back, I'm not making more money. So if you can get these people on a Zoom call face to face for 15 minutes, or get them for a cup of coffee, your turn rate's going to be way higher on your conversions. So your presentation, I know I got a lot of words here, but I was just kind of in the moment, all excited. So your initial contacts and follow-up is for one reason only, just like I was saying, to set an appointment. To act super professional, this is what I do with every single listing appointment, every single buyer. I always send them a Google Calendar invite. I act very professional. I say, hey, can I get your email? I'm going to send you a calendar invite. And if for any reason this changes, can you please let me know? I have a very busy schedule. So you can do that on Calendly, Google, just makes you seem more valuable in the moment too. And then also 30 minutes before your meeting, you want to make sure that you send them a text message, an email, or something reminding them that, hey, we have this 15-minute Zoom coming up. And then if you want to take a picture or screenshot this, and make sure you add in what Rick said earlier, the hours to create closing from contact to close, the 5 to 10 hours per file, the $300 to $500 an hour that they value, and that you're saving them somewhere between $1,500 to $3,000. That's a really good question to ask in here. So, right, would you please share a little bit about yourself, such as your background and what you did prior to being in real estate? Some people know an acronym, it's called FORD, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. It's just to be able to kind of get to know the person and get a feel. So you're not just going straight into a sales pitch. You want to make sure that you get to know them a little bit. You can ask a question like, hey, how long have you been a realtor? What type of success are you experiencing in your real estate business? People love talking about themselves. And if you can get them to open up to this, you can actually know if you're going to make money off this realtor anyway. Because if they're like, well, I got my license 6 months ago and I still don't have a closing. I mean, if you want to help them grow their business and have that on the side for some side income, sure. But it's a good thing to say, like, yeah, I'm closing 5, 6, 7, 8 deals a month. You kind of know who you're getting yourself into. And then, have you partnered with a TC before to leverage your time and focus on more money producing activities such as prospecting and appointments? So it's a question to make them think. So you're asking these types of questions when you're on your presentation to kind of open them up. And then the next slide is going to kind of get into even more detail.
And the nice thing about getting automated in a CRM system is they will send out the appointment reminders. It'll say a day before, a half hour before, an hour before, whatever your rules are, it will send the reminders on your behalf. And that's what a good CRM will do. Oops, did I skip too far? There we go.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, just going off what you were saying, Rick, just so everybody's clear with a CRM system, how I do mine, I have my phone calls. I don't make my own text messages and I don't do my own emails. Like my value proposition, my packets, my for sale by owner backup plans, my expired backup plans, all of that stuff goes out automatically on different days. Like my for sale by owner backup plan goes out on day 3 automatically. I don't touch it. And it's a personalized email, literally says their first name. Hey, I hope you find some value in this. Let me know what you think about it. And then on usually Mondays, I do a big amount of just personal calls. And then Fridays, I'll send out a personalized text. So the majority of the stuff that you're doing, don't think that you're going to be like 8 hours a day on your phone, texting and emailing people. We can get you to the point where this is just automated. So when you get to that 1,300 agents in your first year, you have them calling you trying to set up appointments. It's just going to keep adding. So your initial contacts and follow-up is for one reason. So yeah, next slide, Rick. So, and then at the presentation, probably could have turned this into one slide with the previous one, but how I start out my appointments on a listing presentation, for example, is once I get to know them, I build rapport, all that, and we sit down at that kitchen table, I start out with saying something like this. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or you can say, hey, Mr. Realtor, Miss Realtor, one of 3 things are going to happen after this meeting. Number 1, I'm going to bring so much value to your business. We're going to move forward today, get the contract signed. I'm immediately going to get in to your deals. I'm going to make sure everything's smooth, and I'm going to give you more hours back. Number 2, we just aren't a good fit for one another and we can walk our separate ways as friends. Or number 3, I didn't present you with enough information that you needed to make a decision today. And if you say that, it clears up all the objections at the end, because either we're going to move forward, we're just not a good fit, or they need more information to make a decision. So when you ask for the business, which you see at the bottom, call to action, and they say no, or they come up with anything like, well, Mr. Realtor, at the beginning, right? I asked you 3 things. Is there anything wrong with me? Could you see me as a future transaction coordinator? They say yes. Okay. Number 2, because that solves number 1 and number 2. And then number 3, I remember we went over, like, you just must not have enough information to make a decision. What's holding you back from moving forward? Does that make sense, Rick?
Love it.
And then, of course, when you start, after asking them some questions, you can go over who you are, what you do, what value you bring to your business or to their business. For example, I just wrote out, I'm an extension of your already great service. When I transact your deals, I'm not only going to ensure a smooth closing, but I'm going to treat your clients as family along the process as well. So just something that you can do to add some value to them. And then you can go over like why you're different than other transaction coordinators. In the very end, you're going to do a call to action, which I already have later in this presentation. So what is a call to action? It's super simple. You're asking for the business, because you're not going to get what you don't ask for. So if they say anything but yes, remind them of the 3 expectations, just like I said. And then with everything else aside, would you feel comfortable with me? Do you think I'm worth the price that I charge with all of the value that I bring to your business? You're just asking these simple questions to move that needle forward. And then I know 2 things is going to come up: price, and I need to think about it. So you're asking if my value is worth the price. And then if money weren't the concern, would you hire me today? And if yes, on all of these, ask if they would go ahead, get the paperwork signed, and you can complete the first transaction at a discount or even free to show them the value. Anything you can do to get these people to sign. I'm not going to tell you what your time's worth, only you know what your time's worth. But Rick, if somebody came up to you, presented you with all of this value, you have a nice Zoom call put together, exactly what I can do step by step, how I'm going to add value to your business. This is what I charge. This is how much money I'm going to send you. And then at the very end, I didn't want to move forward. And they said, you know what, I'm going to give you a discount on the first transaction or even do one for free. What would you think?
I like that idea. I also like the idea of just even the money back guarantee, right?
Okay.
Let them part with the cash. Let them feel the experience of giving you money, and don't present yourself as a discount, right? Because we're in the business of defending our commissions all the time. And so we're having to defend a commission of $30,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a transaction, on a big transaction. And I'm not going to discount. And I don't want you guys to discount either, because you're valuable and you're already a really good deal. So if you have to go discount or free to get the foot in the door, great. But you can also just say, look, Mr. Miss Realtor, I will give you a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If I don't blow the doors off this thing and make you so happy and save you so much time that you can use elsewhere to grow your business, if I'm not adding tremendous value by offering my services to you on this first deal, I'll refund 100% of it.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I like that way more, Rick. Thank you for adding that. And then to finish this off, two more things: follow up. The FU money is in the follow up. Like I was talking about earlier, I think I put this in here. If you try to follow up with these agents, you can go to the next slide, Mr. Janson. And then one more, just the FU money comes from follow up. That all your money will come from follow up. Every agent that you're going to sign on is most likely going to happen from follow up. All of my business comes from follow up. I think I've had one deal on the first phone call that went through, and I think I just caught them off guard and they felt helpless of selling their property because somebody else failed. And they're just like, you know what, let's just do this. So only 2% of your prospects will speak with you and they're like, yes, I'll do business today. Those statistics skyrocket between contacts number 5 through 12. So contacts number 5 through 12 are so important. That can be a DM, a text, a phone call, an email. They get in front of you 12 times. You have such a higher chance of actually closing them and getting them to that Zoom call. Again, automation through your CRM, because people do business with who they know, like, and trust. And this is why your Facebook profile is so important in the posts that you have that are professional, because on average, it takes 12 contacts for someone to feel acquainted with you. I add every single person I ever do a deal with on Facebook and add them as a friend. And then if you go to the next slide, Rick,
in this follow up, what you could do with your CRM too, every 2 weeks, is add value, right? And so when I'm getting emails and spam emails and junk emails from coaches, every single one of them adds value. So how do you add value as a TC? Every 2 weeks, you could offer something like, hey, this is how a transaction can go more smoothly at this point or that point, or here's how you can massage this, and here's how you could do it yourself, right? And you teach them about part of the transaction that you are demonstrating your expertise and professionalism, and showcase to them how your transaction can go more smoothly. 2 weeks later, give them something they can give to their clients. Hey, I know, Mr. Realtor, Miss Realtor, I know you're sending out email newsletters to your clients. Here are some interesting articles and facts and statistics I found that you could share with your clients to demonstrate value and raise your profile in the eyes of your prospects. So one, you're building yourself and you're demonstrating your expertise, and the other, you're helping them grow their business. When you do that over the course of 3 to 6 months, you will totally stand out from the competition.
100%. Then I have for your CRM, you have hot leads, you have warm leads, and you have cold leads. Just different steps that you want to be able to follow up with different people. This goes back into the CRM. I can't tell you how many different hours of CRM training I've done in the past. So it's kind of hard to explain right off the bat. But just like we're talking about, Rick, I think it'd be a good idea if we can, snip some of those shots and kind of give a visual of what that looks like to them after the presentation. Because depending on who it is, if you have a hot lead, you want to be in front of them every 1 to 3 days. A warm lead, just like Rick was talking about, every 2 to 4 weeks, you add some type of value. And then your cold and dead leads, send them some type of value every 3 to 6 months, because maybe their mind changed throughout the year. And then that's what I have right there. Rick, do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Go for it.
Perfect. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I just want to explain, like, for example, for my Facebook page, when somebody clicks on Luke Smith, this is what they see. I learned this from business leaders who do over $100 million a year in production, and this is how they set their Facebooks up. So I'm just going to go over real quick what yours should look like. It's not because of my opinion, it's because of what works. Your background photo on your Facebook page should be something family related to allow other people to understand that you're just family centric, right? I have myself, and this is just my wife's side of the family, something warm they can see right off the bat. And then me being a guy, I have my wife in here. More people click on my presentation or on my profile because my wife's in there too. And it's not weird for a random guy to add somebody as a friend, and then I'm just randomly trying to slide in their DMs to help list their house. So it just makes it real easy for that. So a couple of pictures always a good idea. And then this right here is something that's very important. You do not want to bog this down with 8 different types of jobs that you do, that you're an entrepreneur, you're an investor, you worked at like 8 different places in the last 5 years. You've been to 8 different schools. Just want this super, super simplistic, right? I'm a middle Georgia realtor. I work at eXp Realty. I added this in here because this brings up a lot of conversations with other like veterans and stuff like that, where I live, where I'm from, who I'm married to, my website. It's all I have. And I try to do at least one post a day. I'm on my Facebook, try to add some value in there to some other people and show them, yes, I'm actually closing deals. And then just different posts to, bring some family stuff out there. And then just some motivational type posts that I've been working on that I feel like a lot of people get value from. I don't have a whole lot of friends, so 20 likes for me is a whole lot. And I'll be at church and people are asking me about my posts, and I get more leads from a church than anything else. And at church, we have like 20 realtors. They go to the church that I go to, and I'm still getting leads from them just because they see my Facebook content. It's not salesy. I'm not just real estate. I'm trying to build relationships on here. Then if I go to one more thing too, just like Rick was talking about with the CRM stuff, I have so much automation that goes out all the way through day 92 for my for sale by owners. So I send them something in the mail right away, a phone call, automated email gets sent out, handwritten letter gets sent out, and then automated email on day 7. I call them on day 7, automated blog, just a lot of automation is what I'm trying to get at. And then I have a separate thing for text messages. That's my set of things. I just see a lot of people on Facebook have such unprofessional Facebook profiles, and it's a huge turnoff, because if I want to hire somebody, it's just the sad reality of what it is. If they're not professional outside of work, what are the expectations that I'm going to have for you when we are at work? And if somebody clicks on your profile page and you're doing transactions for a realtor and you have a bunch of vulgar stuff posted and just stuff like that, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I just think it's something that's important.
So let's jump into a couple Q&As before we do the bonus content. CRM, Jasmine, we covered this a little bit earlier, but we'll do it quickly again. CRM wise, we have automation set up in CRM Grow that we could just copy, hand off, and just dump into your system, and you could have a running system immediately. I also, I've used LionDesk in the past, Follow Up Boss, Chime, KV Core. All of those are really good systems. I think HubSpot's free if you're looking to save a few dollars. But look for something where you can send like a video text or a video email as well. Because again, adding that little 15-second video clip really helps, and something that, can kind of work off your phone as well. So you can stay in touch and add contacts on the fly, or follow up with someone. If your notes say, hey, you've got these 5 contacts to make, and you're waiting somewhere, you got to the school early to pick up your kids, you can just pick up your phone, boom, 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 record it and go. That I find that works really, really well. Luke, do you want to take Kirby's question there? Do you recommend personal and professional page for both Facebook and LinkedIn, or just one?
So that's the thing. I started off, and there's 2 things you do. You're working in your business and you're working on your business. When you're working in your business, you're working on contracts, you're getting stuff signed, you're getting emails sent over, and you're doing things that make you money. A lot of people get so caught up in working on your business, like business cards? What does the end of my email look like? Do I have a really nice website set up? Is my Facebook perfect? Is all these things perfect? And you forget that if you're not working in your business, you're not making any money. So you can have a personal and a professional page on Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. But just make sure that if you do go that route, that you don't forget every single day that you work on your 5 agents a day, and you're getting all your tasks done, and you don't get into that realm of, I'm going to work today for 12 hours on making sure my Facebook's perfect. Does that make sense, Rick? Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, it does. And Kirby, the other thing I would say to that is master one before you open up a whole can of worms, because you can have Instagram and TikTok and Instagram Reels, and then you can have, all of a sudden you're pulled in so many different directions. And every single one of those platforms, every page, every profile, every group requires maintenance, requires massaging. They all have an algorithm that they're paying attention to. And so if you shotgun yourself too fast out of the gate and you haven't mastered one that's generating leads consistently that you can then duplicate in a different way, I would just say laser focus on one for the month of December. Get your personal page really, really dialed in. Then, once you have that dialed in, you're on a rhythm, everything's your posts are scheduled, you have a content calendar, you know what's going on. Then, okay, maybe now LinkedIn, right? But LinkedIn's completely different from Facebook, and the way you approach it has to be completely different. You're going to have to study up on that. So just be aware that every single new avenue you open up is going to be a time suck.
Anybody else have any questions? You feel free to unmute yourself and we can dig into some stuff.
I have a question. What if you're new to TC? I have experience closing. I worked as a closer for 2 years. So I have a background in close for a mortgage company, but now I want to do TC.
Okay, so Natalie, you closed like a title company?
No, I work for a mortgage company. My background is mortgage financing, and I was a closer for a mortgage company. I did closing packages.
Yeah, of course, Natalie. Is your question based on how to attract more agents or how to learn the TC structure? Like, how do I do contracts? What paperwork do I need to type up, etc.?
Yes, it would be more of how to structure as a TC. How would I, like you said, attract agents, and also making sure that I am following the process as a TC. Because like I said, I know how to do the closing, I know how to contact title companies, schedule closings. I know how to look at I know how to make sure that they have enough funds coming to close and things like that. But I've never done it from a transaction to close, contract to close on the agent side of it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, when it comes to the agent side of things, right? Getting your 5, getting to the presentation, showing your value proposition to them over the Zoom call and closing them. That's one side of things. But then you have the paperwork side of things, like what the heck do I do from contract to close? I bet some of the participants within here might have some good courses to take or stuff like that they may be able to. Yep, Kirby just said that there's a TC boot camp. I would probably recommend one of those to you. Does anybody else have some advice on that?
I would just say there's a lot of different out there. So basically find the one that resonates with you and what you're looking and where your learning area, where you're weak at, and align yourself to that. Another thing too, you might want to see is you always get that controversy being licensed or not licensed. So that's another thing you're just going to have to decide to weigh yourself in on that as well.
Okay. And Angela just comments, Brittany, let's put some good resources there in the chat. I'm seeing some things blow up there, which is fantastic. So as far as learning how to become a TC, we're getting a lot of really good suggestions in the chat. So keep throwing those in there. Teresa asked, where do y'all find content? I'm assuming you mean for like the 2-week and 4-week newsletters to the agents, or was that a different kind of content?
More so, I guess, reaching where their pain points are, like how to build myself and actually provide value as a transaction coordinator and stuff. Does that make sense?
So the pain point of a realtor is very simple. None of us have time, none of us have focus, and none of us have enough appointments or clients, right? So when you, especially like the beginning agents and agents who haven't like figured out how to run this as a business, they're just still running it as a hobby. They're not going to know their numbers. And this is talking from all of my coaching friends and whatnot. They're not going to know their numbers. They're not going to know where their next business is coming from. So pain points for a realtor, if you dial into making things consistent for them, taking work off their plate so they can apply themselves someplace more profitable. There are so many pain points as a realtor, but they're so easy to just like pluck like a guitar string because they're all right there.
What about the more, like you were saying, to go after the ones that are producing? Obviously, you don't want to go after the ones you just sort of mentioned. And I assume they do have all that pain point to some degree, but a lot of them will have a team as well. So how do you wiggle your way into, I mean, that's the goal, right? Not to run yourself ragged, because what's the point of that to degree? You want to actually capitalize on your time and whatnot, and then come together and unite as a team with the agent.
Right. And Teresa, you hit on it, right? So as an agent, I can either prospect single homeowners or I can prospect companies that will give me 10 homeowners a year, right? You're the same way. You can either prospect single agents or you can prospect offices and teams that can feed you multiple deals. Your best prospecting, and it's kind of like dolphin hunting or whale hunting. Don't use those words the wrong way, but if you can find a bigger source of deals, something that'll give you 5 to 10 transactions a month, where they're already finding agents, and those agents then are fed into you from the source, whether it's a team lead, an independent broker, a small office, that will be a really good source for you. So in terms of wiggling your way in there, assume the success of the person you're talking to, right? Stroke the ego and just say, hey, look, you're so successful as an agent already. I know you probably already have systems in place that are very successful for you. What's working for you right now? Right? Get them to talk about it. Get them to open up. Well, we do this, we do that. We have systems for this. We have systems for that. Great. And I'm assuming you have a transaction coordinator. Yes. And they can handle all the business you're currently doing right now. Yes. When your business grows, how much more business can they absorb before you have to hire another one? Right? And what can I do to help you grow your business so that you're forced to hire a second agent because you're doing so much production you can't keep up with it? Where do you need help prospecting, or where do you need help with the resources that I have from the agents that I've been working with? Where can I point you in the right direction so that your business is so overflowing that your transaction coordinator literally could not keep up with it if they tried? And get their dreams going, get their mind going, get them like thinking, wow, this person wants to help me build my business. This person like envisions a place where I have more team members, I have more business, I have more than my TC can handle. Because yeah, I have a TC right now. I love her, wouldn't replace her for no matter what you guys offered me. But I could reach a point, and she's not exclusive to me, where I might outgrow what she can provide for me. Boom. Hey, yeah, now let's talk, right? So that's where you kind of want to, if you're going for someone who's successful, or how many more, if you're talking to a team lead or an office manager, how many more agents can you add before you have to hire another TC? Or are you already at that point? Right? Get them thinking, get to ask thought-provoking questions, growth mindset, because people are not thinking in terms of growth mindset right now with the news pounding inflation and interest rates and everything else and inventory shortages. Nobody's talking about growth. Be their shining light right now. Luke, what would you add to that?
No, I think you hit the nail right on the head, just going after those whales, because what I was talking about earlier, when you're asking those specific questions to open up, hey, how many transactions do you do a year? And asking those value questions to figure that out, when you can get those whales, just like Rick was saying, you have consistent business coming in and you don't have to work with 12 separate people that do 12 different things. So I think that's phenomenal. Moving on to another question real quick. Rick, what do you think about meeting realtors at open houses?
It's a possibility, right? So the realtor, especially if they're not prospecting well, they're sitting there bored out of their mind. Now Luke does circle prospecting around every one of his open houses, and his open houses are really, really busy. So when you go in, be aware of the situation and be cognizant of where that realtor is. If that realtor is there trying to win new business, don't interrupt that with a sales pitch, right? Absolutely not. If that realtor is sitting there like just scrolling through Facebook on their phone and the house is dead, go in, sit down and say, hey, I brought you a cup of coffee. Like, I know these can be rough. Or just walk in with a cup of coffee anyway. Who turns down a cup of coffee? Very few people, right?
Absolutely.
Even vegans drink coffee, right? So like you eat gluten-free coffee, right? So like, hey, I brought you coffee, a little side of cream and sugar. I don't know how you take it. Just thought it'd help out and bring you a little pick me up and a little Cliff Bar, right? Or something innocuous, right? That, right? Stand out. That's a really good first impression. And say, hey, look, I know you're swamped here right now, but you know, I was just wondering, I wanted to introduce myself. My name's Teresa Campos. I'm just a TC in the area. I'm fantastic at what I do. I've got experience. I don't want to take your time right now because I know you're busy prospecting, but can I use this cup of coffee just to get your name and email and set up an appointment sometime when we can talk? Or did I read the situation wrong? Is now a good time?
Absolutely. So another one for you, Rick, here, and then I'm going to add on to the end of this because I want to hear your opinion. How can you justify your price if an in-house TC is more cost effective to agents / brokerages from Taylor?
Yeah, one thought is move on. There's so many more realtors in the sea. Like, save the ones that are swimming towards the boat, right? So you can chase and you can pound and you can hound. Or you can just keep calling until you find people who are more receptive. There are obviously value propositions and things you can do to get past sort of the in-house salaried person. Jill, I'm not sure what the exclusivity nonsense is, but if you run up against objections that are too tried and true and rote, just move on. In Denver, there are 28,000 licensed real estate agents. The other 27,999 aren't going to have that objection.
Absolutely. And I want to throw in there something too. I'm not big enough to hire a full-on TC that would just do paperwork full-time and that's it. Like, my business isn't there yet. But for example, like the transaction coordinator that I have now, I hope that's the case, because if she can take off all the work that I need, I will happily pay her for the pre-listing consultation stuff where she gets all my paperwork for me all the way to closing. She writes up my buyers stuff, everything. If I don't have any paperwork to do, it gets done in a timely manner, I'll even double the price. I wouldn't care. I don't care, you know, charge $350. I would pay $800 a transaction if it means everything's done on time, efficiently, and they just crush it. And that person is eventually going to turn into my full-time position, plus bonuses, because most likely she can probably work a little bit on the listing side of things as stuff she can do in her free time when she's not doing contracts. I don't know what you think about that, Rick, but if I find that much value in one person, she's going to eventually turn into a salary person. I'll probably pay at least $60,000 a year to.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to reward good talent. And when you find really good talent, pay them more than they think they're worth. Right now, I'm hiring international team members to do some editing for me and some other stuff. And, you know, I'll be presented a wage that's really good in their country. And they're like, and the interviewer will say, oh, well, that's negotiable. I said, why would I negotiate that? That's what they think they're worth. That's what I should pay them. Right. And that if they're commanding a higher dollar figure, then bring me that value. And then let's put bonuses on top of that. You know, someone who's going to think cheap out of the gate and treat you cheap is going to keep thinking cheap. You want someone who's going to reward you, overpay you, overcompensate you, incentivize you to just love coming to work and doing work for them. So that, guess what? In that inevitable time when I have to call you Friday at 8 p.m., you might find that file for me, right? Because you're grateful to have me as a client, right? And I'm grateful to have you as an assistant.
I couldn't agree more with that.
So just a quick question. I mean, I know we're kind of up against a full hour here. Some people joined late because they were going to Microsoft Teams, and we apologize profusely for sending out so many different links. We had over our limit for Microsoft registers, so we had to go and buy a bigger room on Zoom to accommodate everybody, but we definitely will send this out as a recording. You can always hit Luke and I up personally. Luke's going to throw his contact information into the chat here. And then, recommend also adding it to your name right there so people can easily see it on the recording. Just to rename yourself, just throw your phone number on there, Luke, and so you can reach out anything you want, from slides to scripts to resources to this recording. Luke's going to get it to you. He'll also post it in an initial Facebook post and get that out there. But just about, you know, throw in the chat here right now quickly, if you are also licensed as a real estate agent, just click yes, or just type yes, me, something in the chat here. Just want to get a feel for our audience. We have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so this content right now will be relevant to a lot of you. And I'm not sure 100% why you're licensed. Is it because it's required to be a TC in your state? Or is it because you're thinking about doing some real estate and kind of pushing around the different career options? But one thing Luke and I have found, and I've been a realtor for 20 years. And Luke, do you mind if I get into a little of the bonus content?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll just try to keep this under 10 minutes. I've got a little video we can go through here quickly. But one of the things, I was an independent broker for 16 years. And what people always taught me was that if you build a team, if you build an office, you're going to be able to save up all this money. And when you save up all this money, you can buy an income property, right? So let's say a $500,000 property, you have to save up $100,000 after taxes, after expenses, after taking care of my family. I've got a wife and 3 kids, all of that stuff, right? So I've got to save up $100,000 to put it into this property. Then I've got to find a renter. Then I've got to do background checks. Then I've got to fix the furnace, fix the roof. I've got to find someone to mow the lawn to have this rental property that kicks off maybe $200 or $300 a month in profit. And I'm hoping that by them paying my mortgage over the course of 30 years, I'll be able to retire on that money. And I tell you what, there's like 1% of the agents, maybe 0.5% of the real estate agents, of the 2 million plus licensed real estate agents, that actually make that dream a reality. So then 3.5 years ago, I got introduced to EXP by national coaches Tim and Julie Harris. Tim and Julie Harris are Amazon bestsellers, former #1 realtors in the country. Their first year in real estate, they did 100 transactions, kept that pace up for 10 years, then started coaching and teaching people. And I said, hey, I can learn something from them, right? Because they've done it, they're teaching it, they're coaching it. If they can see from a 30,000-foot view perspective what's going on in the country, because they teach beginners to multi-million-dollar producers, if they can see what's going on in the country and see where all the big movers are going, I want to move where all the big movers are going. And 3.5, almost, I guess 4 years ago now, they tapped me on the shoulder and they said, Rick, all the big producers are moving to EXP. All the leaders are moving to EXP. All the top agents are moving to EXP. What do they see that you don't see? And one of the things that I saw, and again, you're not active real estate agents, and I'm not asking you to become active real estate agents, but if you have a license, there's an income pillar or 2 that you're missing out on. Now, EXP just released, we have this referral program where you can just hang your license passively at EXP. I think it's like, Luke, it's like $49 a month or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than being a full-time realtor.
Yeah, and you get SkySlope for free with that too, right? So you can hang, and you get KV Core for free with that, I think. So you can hang your license for free for $49 a month at EXP. Now that gives you 2 things. Good job, Belinda. 2 things that allows you to do. One is it allows you to then, when your friends and family are moving too, right? So 10% of your database is going to move every year. If you're staying in touch with your database, you get people say, hey, I'm a transaction coordinator. I know all the best realtors in town. How about I hook you up? Now you're sending Luke a deal and you can get paid a 25 or 30% or 35% referral fee, right? So you're adding to your income by letting Luke do all your work. You made an introduction and you're making 25 to 35% of the commission. Realtors are used to paying that. So imagine now you've got a $300,000 deal you just referred to Luke. 3% of that's 9,000. I'm just going to choose a random average number. 9,000. You're getting 30% of that. You're getting $3,000 for making an introduction to Luke or to your local agents. And even you can use that as an introduction. Just say, look, I'm a licensed agent. When you're on that value proposition, that grand slam offer, right? I'm a licensed real estate agent, but I don't do real estate. Nonetheless, I have a database of 250, 300 personal friends. And if 10% of my database moves every year, that's 30 transactions that could conceivably happen out of my database. Would you like to receive some of those referrals this year? As transaction coordinator for you, I'm going to give you some of my referrals. How would you deal with an extra 30 deals a year? Boom, right? That is a grand slam offer, bar none. So that could even knock out an in-house salaried person. No, I'm going to do where you're going to not only be able to profit from a direct referral, but you're also going to be able to profit from just having any agent that signs up with you. Every time they do a deal, EXP pays you some money, right? So right now, and you can offer this now to realtors as well. And I say this because I've managed right now in the past 4 years to get in the top 1% of EXP in terms of revenue share group size. I don't say that to brag. I just say that to share with you this is possible in 4 years to get into the top 1%. And I will share with you exactly how we've done it. So Tim and Julie, when they came to me, these national coaches with this 30,000 foot view of top producing agents and top coaches, they came to me and said, Rick, how are you funding your retirement? And I didn't really have a good answer to that, right? I was going to save money, right? And so, like I said, I normally have this conversation with someone in person, sketch this out on a napkin or a piece of paper, but you're over there, I'm over here, so we're going to have to improvise. So I'm going to go through this little presentation and kind of dial it back down. So CFAs say you can withdraw 4% a year from what you save in order to preserve your capital. So if your plan is to save up a lot of money and then retire on that, let's say you put 900,000 in savings and withdrew 4%, that's 36,000 a year or 3,000 a month. I could tell you after 20 years, I had not saved up $900,000. Shame on me. But 20 years, I had not saved up $900,000. So if you'd save up $50,000 a year for 20 years and everything I've sacrificed, right, to do that, all of the life experiences, all of the Disneylands, all of the trips, all of the TVs, all of the things that like actually matter to me, which is experiences, I would have to give up all of that. Now that's after paying down debt, increasing savings, giving up life experiences. Tim and Julie said, look, why don't you, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So 20 years from now, you're still not going to be able to retire. But what if you shared the company where you worked with 2 people a year or 3 people a year? So we put this thing in place where we have a $16,000 cap on commission splits. Now, other companies, like I've talked to someone at Compass, they were paying $64,000 a year in commission splits. Absolutely absurd. I go to them, I'm like, look, you can save a ton of money just by moving to EXP. And so I go to agents, I'm like, look, can we share this joy that I have where I'm working? And a capping agent is someone who does about $3 million a year in business, which in Denver is about 5-6 deals. So EXP now on this, when I share that with a capping agent, and I'm going to pause this for a second. When I share EXP with a capping agent, that's someone who's doing about $3 million in business. As that agent pays in money to EXP and their 20% split, that $16,000 over the course of the year goes up to EXP. EXP shares 50% of that back out to the agents who are building the company. So Teresa, you're up next to me in my Zoom, so I'm going to pick on you for a little bit. But let's say like you're doing transaction coordinating for 6 agents, right? You've implemented Luke's systems, you found producing agents, you're closing deals, you see them closing $3 million a year, right? Plus. So those agents, every time over the course of the year, as they're closing business, that 20% commission split goes up to EXP, and EXP gives 50% of that, sprinkling back down to the agents who built the company. So the agent is not paying you, EXP is paying, right? So all of a sudden you have $100 a month coming in, $300 a month coming in, $500 a month coming in, $1,200 a month coming in. I'm happy to share that I have more than a teacher's annual salary coming to me every year, passively and residually, right? Just by other agents in my group selling homes, right? So let's say you find one person every other month, one capping agent every other month. That's $16,800 coming to you as a TC. But what you can share with that agent is if we do the same presentation for them, they're now getting their cap back. So they're now on essentially 100% split because they paid 16,000 in, but they got 16,800 back. EXP is actually paying them more to be at EXP than they're paying to be at EXP, which just doesn't happen anywhere else. So moving on, I'm not sure where this presentation goes because I haven't seen it in a while, but most companies don't have it, right? So now as a TC, you're not only adding time to their life, but with this introduction, you can also say, I'm going to get some of your commission back for you. They're going to be like, what? How do you get my commission back? Well, so now let's do this in a different way. So people see, like Luke saw me, right? And Luke said, Rick, you're killing it over at EXP. You've got more than 6 agents. I want to come on and get more than 6 agents, right? So 6 agents now, let's say Luke comes on board and tries to imitate this, right? And he doesn't get 6 capping agents a year. He just gets 1, okay? Let's watch how the math works on this. So I found 6, or Teresa, let's say you found 6, and those 6 all find 1. As a thank you, EXP gives you up to $3,200 per agent per year. Now, just doing quick math on a 12-person organization, that's $19,200 on your second level plus $16,800 on your first level. That's $36,000 a year or $3,000 a month in just 2 years. Now, it's not going to come in consistently every month. Some months will be 2,000, some will be 4,000. Not everybody's going to find 1. One person's going to find 3, one will find 2, one will find 1, and a couple won't do anything. But you can see how quickly this math adds up. Now, just pause for a second. What would an extra $3,000 a month in passive residual income allow you to do right now that you're not doing? Would it, and I can't hear anybody because you're all muted, but let's throw it in the chat. Like, what would $3,000 a month, could you pay off a credit card? Would that take care of your mortgage and your student loans? Would that fund a college account for your children? Would that allow you to take a vacation a year or 2 vacations a year? Would that allow you to get like your dream car early, right? Would it allow you to fund a 401k? Would it allow you better health insurance? Now, if you did this every other, if you kept doing this, how does that grow, right? So I don't know what seems easier to you, saving $4,800 a month after taxes for 20 years or sharing where you work with 3 productive agents a year, right? When you're already working with productive agents. And you're also now making money with them as a TC, and you're allowed to get referral commissions from them as well. So we don't just pay 2 levels deep, we can pay you up to 7 levels deep. And we're just wanting to give you choices, right? It's just another income stream from something you're already doing. You're already talking to producing agents. You can save them money. Now let's look at a big number. So if you saved $4.5 million at a 4% withdrawal rate, that's $15,000 a month. I don't know about you, but how easy is it to save $44.5 million in savings? Or let's do a 3-year plan at EXP. Hypothetically, could you get 10 people? That's 3 a year. And in your 3rd year, 4 capping agents, right? That's attracting 10 people to your business in a couple of years by being enthusiastic about where you work, about the money you're saving, about the money you're earning, and about the impact and the life-changing effect you're having on other agents, how you've been able to help them grow their business, grow their income, and achieve their dreams. Now, let's say 10 people get 10 capping agents, all attract 10 capping agents. It's not going to happen that way because some will do 20, some will do 5, some will do 1, but let's say 10 get 10 just for fun. And I know people for whom this has actually happened, and it's super fun to watch the effect this happens on their life, right? So again, 10 don't get 10, but for simple math, let's just do it that way. So when 10 get 10 capping agents on your front level, get 10 capping agents on your second level. That's $2,800 per capping agent on your front level over the course of a year. So that's $28,000 a year. That's pretty sweet. Now on the second level, that's $320,000 a year in potential residual income. So again, you don't believe me. So let's say the average of those is on the second level is half. That's not even capping agent. They're doing 1.5 million a year, right? So let's say that's the average. Now I don't know what your average price point is in that market, but let's cut that to 160,000. So plus the 160, we're at 180,000 a year. That's 15,000 a month. So even if you're skeptical, is it easier to find 10 who get 10, even half cappers, or is it easier to save $4.5 million in the next few years? So we we think, and I'm going to stop sharing here because I don't want to bore people with this math, but you see the potential. And we can get into it on another call. I just wanted to add that as a bonus section because we're talking about making $350 a transaction, $500 a transaction, and trying to get to a certain income level. Let's say you want to get to $3,000 a month. That's 6 transactions at 500 or 10 transactions at 350, right? So you can make 3,000, 5,000 a month that way. But if we can over time also help you make an additional $5,000 a month passively with the agents you're already working with and the agents you will attract to the business and the agents that they attract to your business. Think about this. When I attract Luke to EXP because I shared it with him, I was happy with it. And Lee was the one who introduced Luke to our organization. Then Luke goes out and finds 5 more agents. Guess who gets that TC business? His existing TC, because Luke is growing his organization. This is a growth model, right? So this growth model that we have in place, when you find producing agents in growth mode, will build your TC business as well. And the bonus is EXP is just going to sprinkle some extra commission money your way because you hung your license that you already have. You hang it at EXP with Luke. Luke signs you up. He gets you dialed in. You put $49 a month on that. And now Luke helps you grow your business. Now, why would Luke proactively go out and help you find agents for your TC business? Because now when you're in Luke's organization, Luke has a financial incentive to grow your business. EXP pays Luke every time one of your agents closes a deal. So Luke is going to be training your agents. Luke is going to be helping you find new agents. Luke is going to be growing your TC business, and you don't have to pay him a dime because EXP will pay him.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Rick. And I know that's a lot at the very end. And I know some people had some questions. Thank you, Kirby. Thank you so much, Vivian. Because I had to add this in here too. And thank you so much, especially coming from one of the top realtors in the United States. This is another free income source on top of whatever you're doing. Because my TC, for example, every single person I signed up to EXP, I give that agent to my current TC. And she gets all of that business for free. And just like Rick was talking about beforehand, you don't have to spend $1 for any of this stuff. You get referral deals from 25 to 35%. We already teach you how to attract agents, not only to your TC organization so you can get more deals on that side, and then teach you on how to get a residual income coming in every single month. I mean, I don't have anything to sell you. We don't have anything to sell you. All this presentation was to add value to you, and by adding value to you for the down road, I can personally train all your people for you. And that's what I do for a daily basis. I sell real estate and help agents in production. So I really hope everybody found value in this. And a lot of people don't know about EXP, and I started off at Keller Williams. I thought it was phenomenal because of the training and stuff like that, but it's just the amount of money that I can make, and I just put it right back in my business is phenomenal. And long story short, just this extra income has given me the ability to stop thinking of I'm a realtor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm building my business so I can bring on more agents. I bring on more staff members. I bring on everybody else. And now it's growing from the inside out, because at first I was so desperate. Where's my next deal? To now I actually have the money to build it the way that I need to. And just from that financial standpoint, I just want to be able to help other people and give back to you guys, because I can't tell you how hard my transaction coordinator works. She's there for me Saturday night, almost at midnight if I have to get deals done and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to help build her financial future for what she gave to me. So
and
I hope everybody enjoyed.
Yeah, Amory, Amanda, Sarah, Kirby, Kim, everybody in the chat that wants to learn more. Luke's going to throw his email in the chat right now, and his cell phone. You can reach out to him, text him first. He'll call you back because he might be in sales mode. He's prospecting for FSBOs and expireds. And I think you've got 7 closings this month. You're just crushing it as a new agent. And there was someone in the chat said, hey, this is a pitch for your downline. I just want to address that publicly right now for a second. First of all, we're not selling you anything. This deal is just, it is what it is. It's too good to be true. And, when I first looked at this, I was resistant for about 6 months. because I was an independent broker. I was keeping 100% of what I was making, and I was going to have to pay like 16 grand off the top to some company for my sales. I was like, this is ridiculous. But I didn't know what I didn't know. And, you know, we looked at in the Georgia MLS, and there are very few EXP agents. We looked around the country. There are very few EXP agents in a lot of places, even though EXP is now like the number 2, number 1 brokerage in the country based off of sales volume or units. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And this goes back again to surrounding yourself with people who are smarter than you, better than you, more successful than you. I looked at Tim and Julie Harris, national coaches who were essentially at the time 4 years ago risking their coaching business by going to EXP, right? And I looked at other people. I looked at the number 1 broker in San Diego, the number 3 broker in San Diego. I looked at every coach that I admired and respected was moving over to EXP. I said, what do they know that I don't know? And it just gnawed at me, right? And then Tim calls me up, and Tim's my age. I'm 52. I know I look 65, but I am 52. I like to say that. And so Tim's like, look, you know, when I found this company when I was 48, and he said, are you retired yet? And I said, no. And he said, well, how pissed off are you? And I was like, what do you mean? I'm 48. I've got a wife. I've got 3 kids. I've got a house and cars, student loans, credit card debt. Like, what do you mean retired? He's like, yeah, I'm retired. I'm your age. Why aren't you pissed off? He's like, what if I could show you? He said, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you will not be retired in 20 years because you've been doing this for 20 years. And it's like, good gosh, man. Like it never even dawned on me. And so then I started looking around to other realtors, and I started realizing realtors do not have a retirement plan. TCs do not have a retirement plan. You eat what you kill. And if you're not out there doing another deal, you're done. And when you get to the end of a year, and let's say you've had a record year, like this last year I did 12 million, this year, last year I did 10 million, this year I'll probably do 17.5 million. Guess what? Next year I've got to do 17.5 million again, or grow to 22. I have to keep upping my game, increasing my game, no matter how challenging the market is. And this provides a little backstop, right? This provides some safety net. This provides a retirement. And I've shared with Luke before, and I'll share here, like I have a child with special needs. And my youngest son will never have a career opportunity that will pay for all of his needs, his physical therapy, his housing, his food, all of that. And so if I can find a way to will an income to him, a passive residual income to him, what a blessing that is to his 2 siblings that now don't have to take care of him. If you can take care of an aging parent, if you can take care of your kids long after you're gone, if you can take care of a sibling in need, whatever that might be, or if you just want to give it all to charity, who cares? Like whatever your why is, I found the blessing of that to be so much more robust and rewarding and fulfilling than the risk of anybody saying I'm pitching them something. And so I'm so happy where I work, and I just share it with people, because guess what? When I was an independent broker, I shared that all the time. I was recruiting, I was building. Every team leader out there is recruiting, building. KW, Sotheby's, Compass, they're recruiting. I get calls from Side, I get calls from everybody on the sun is recruiting and building. If they're in growth mode, if they're successful, they're recruiting, they're building. And EXP said, guess what? If you're recruiting and building, we'll pay you to do it. And we'll give you drag and drop marketing. We'll give you healthcare. We'll give you health. We'll give you vitality. We'll give you training. We're going to surround you with multimillionaires so you can up your game. So you can go from 10 million in business to 17 million in business, which is why I'm growing as fast as I am this year, is I surround myself with people more successful than I am. So if I get to share that blessing with people, and then I look up and Melanie and Natalie and Teresa and all the other people on this chat, Kim, like all these people, if they end up making more money next year, just because I was bold enough to say, hey, check this out, that's a no-brainer. Hey, Luke, I've got to run here in just a couple of minutes because I'm going to go pick up my kids from school. I know we lost a few people because we ran over time. We will send a recording of this out. Luke's going to drop his email and cell phone in chat one more time, just so it's top of the list. So you can get more information on the transaction coordinating. You can get his slide deck from this presentation. So you can find out more information about where to hang your license to get some more income coming in. So we can teach you how to get referral commissions off of the deals, off of the 10% of your friends who are going to move every year. We're going to teach you how to get 10%, that 10% feeding you 25 to 30%. Jennifer, yes, you did miss a chunk. Laugh out loud. You did miss a chunk. We'll throw a recording up. Luke's got all your email addresses. I'm out of breath, man. This has been fun.
No, I feel that I had no idea that this was going to be so great. Hope that we provided a lot of value for you. And Rick, thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy getting on here. It is just a great opportunity. And I think we're going to be able to look back and help out a lot of people, and let's make some more money, because that's what it's all about. When it comes to business, you're trading your time for money. You might as well make more with the time you got. So I appreciate all you, and Rick, appreciate your time. I appreciate everybody. Please, that's my personal cell phone number. Blow me up if you want to. I'll send you out Calendly links. If anybody wants to get on the phone, I'll send you out my calendar. You can do a 15-minute call. If you have more information about EXP, or you want my slide deck, you want to go over some scripts, or maybe some word tracks that we can go over when you're speaking to realtors, to get them to join your TC business, anything like that, I'll take the time for you guys.
We just want to blow up your TC business. It can be so huge, and it's like, boom, right? When you see what you don't see and you learn what you don't know, all of a sudden you can't go back. You can't unsee it. And that's just all we want to share with you, is just something you can't unsee, and get you dreaming bigger, right? The bigger you dream, the more people you can serve, the better, contribution you can give to society, and society will reward you with a little more money. So that's all I got.
Yes. And last thing I'll leave you with, Albert Einstein said a quote that I love. A life worth living is only one that one gives value. Kind of weird because it's kind of old times, but a life worth living is only worth it if you can bring value to other people. So like me as a realtor, I'm bringing value to home sellers and buyers, and you are bringing a lot of value to me because I can actually spend time with my wife instead of being on my phone and computer all night. So thank you for all your hard work that you do for me, and just want to be able to help give it back to you.
Awesome. Bye, everybody.
Awesome. See ya.